What up, YouTube? Asian Persuasion here, and I'm here with my boy Eric, who just got first place at our locals today with what deck, my friend?
Branded.
And this is the new June 2023 ban list, of course. What are your thoughts, of course, on the few hits that your deck took?
I miss Expulsion a lot more than I would have expected, that is for sure, but I feel like the Sanctifier Dragon really does just do a whole lot. The fact that it can't be targeted makes it a good boss monster. People have to like process it and think about it, play around it and stuff. Definitely not nearly as consistent, but it's still completely viable. I got it in the main deck. It's still viable enough. And as long as you don't get bestial, you're fine.
So other than that, what are your other initial thoughts on the ban list? Did you?
I liked it just because I didn't really do much studying about Pearly or Super Heavy, and now it's much more just have a Kaiju or a Droll, and it'll definitely shut it down if you even see it. We had a couple of a Super Heavy player and a couple of Pearly players at locals, so it's nice to know those were hits.
I know, right? It was a very big surprise for me too. I did not expect those hits, but
not so soon.
Especially because they're the newest decks.
Yeah, and I knew something was going to hit my deck. But I was hoping it was this versus the puppet, because I can still use the puppet. Expulsion has its uses outside of trying to lock somebody, but Sanctifier does it too. It's just you can't possibly summon both to your field. And there's a lot of things. Like I said, I did miss it more than I thought, but I'm degenerate. When I played Geist so much, I played Mystic Mind, Imperial Order. I play it till they ban it. So
Secret Village too. Don't forget that card.
Yeah, but that's much more fair these days.
At least, nowadays.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into profile. Let's see it.
So, relatively standard. We'll do Despia stuff first. 3 Alubers, 1 Tragedy, 1 Ad-Lib. I've considered it, and I've seen so many things taking the Ad-Lib out completely. I just still like the branded in red play. I like that it's a fusion. I like that it can summon back my Quem from the grave or banish too, since it's Despia. Yeah. So it's got enough utility that I feel like it's useful enough to have in there. That's the Despia stuff. 3 Albaz, 2 Cartesia, 1 Quem. I feel like this is a good mix for all these. I have a second Quem. If it ever becomes more beneficial to play those, I'll end up playing those as well. But I feel like the 3, 2, 1, you kind of always want one of these engraved for the Rinbrum or for this. Having 2 of these is good because then I can use one as fusion material and banish it and still know that I have another one in deck for fusion deployment or whatever. I also play 2 Granguignol, so having a second one of these, I can set up the Gimmick Puppet lock on their turn and set up like a normal branded red thing on my turns.
Yeah.
It's got its benefits.
I like it.
So I definitely like running that thing. The one of Albaz stuff, just one of each of these. I feel like the utility with this is still pretty good. It ends up being something that you can side out. Having the negate in hand is great. Being able to use Quem to summon this back onto the field and have the negate from the field is also good if you've already got Albaz and Cartesia in play. So that feels good to have. Albaz stuff. 2 Bestials. Just branded target gets Albion off the field the easiest way. I've considered cutting both of these, but this one is just sometimes you don't have another way to get Albion off the board. This is the best way to do it, even if you already have Lost. Then this I really only run because I run this. If I didn't need this, I probably would take this out too and just go down to 40 or whatever. Then the 2 Bricks, the one-ofs.
It's not over yet, folks. People thought it was over. It isn't.
Both of them, there was one game in round 2, I opened up both of these, and I saw 3 Ghost Bells, and I still won.
Yeah, that's great.
Because sometimes, the Gimmick Puppet, having this in your hand, if you get branded opening, if you get Lubellian discard, if you have a way to get this in your grave without Granguignol, it actually doesn't feel that bad.
Yeah.
It's only a brick if you open literally nothing else. If you got other ways to play, having this in your hand is actually great. Sometimes even with Dark Magician, I open up Albaz, Dark Magician, Cartesia, and I'm like, okay, I've got a Dragoon.
Yeah.
If anything else, I've got a Dragoon, which sometimes isn't great, but I'm not playing Super Poly right now. I'm not seeing a lot of Super Poly right now, so Dragoon is a little stronger in that way.
Fair.
The hand traps, these are the main deck hand traps. They are also cross-out targets. I lose to these ones pretty heavily. Cartesia helps get around this one a lot, but knowing that I can save the Cartesia for when I get lost on field eventually and use cross-out for this, that always helps. Both of them just tend to work pretty well on their own anyway, so having a third one, anytime I've tried to run like one of each, I draw it with the cross-out. So I either do 2 or 3, but I've enjoyed having 3 so far. I'm at 42 right now. I'm trying to figure out a way to main deck the Drolls. I might take out one of each of these and then main deck Drolls go to 43, but it's a process. Then for the branded spells, I got, where's my third one? 3 branded fusion.
The FTK still.
3 branded opening. Then 1 of Lost and in red. I don't think that, no other branded spells. Good. This gets Quem now, so you don't even. Usually, I would end up cutting one of these going second sometimes, but now that I got Quem, I want to make sure I get that or a Luber into rotation. These solid one-ofs, of course. Chimera is still good. Lost Protection is still good, especially if you're using, like, there was one play today. I used Cartesia's Chainlink 1. They let it resolve. I got Grand Guignol, Quem, summoning Albaz, and Lost. Albaz fused their one thing away, they couldn't respond. Got into Mirror Jade banished the Ray, they couldn't respond. So it's just like, Lost is a killer.
You know what I did with Magical Meltdown back in the day.
If you can make sure it's Chainlink, your fusion thing is Chainlink 1, then just the fact that, like, on resolution they think they can tier limits, they think they can whatever, respond, and it's just like, no, it just blocks it all out. The one main deck trap, just because there's a line now where I can't remember exactly what you have to start. I should really think on it more. But there's a YouTuber named Galzo. I watch a lot of his videos, and there's one where you can end up with Sanctifier Dragon on board, Gimmick Puppet set up in the grave, Mercurier in hand, and this on field. So if you try to Gimmick Puppet them and they Bestial, you've got either Mercurier or you've got this set to negate, and it's a counter trap and they can't even respond to it. So it's on field effect now comes up a little bit because you don't necessarily always want red. Can't search Expulsion. Sometimes you want to put opening, but this is nice to have. Use the effect, and then the next turn you can banish it from the grave to grab something. And then, of course, its graveyard effect is just stupid handy.
It sure is.
Fusion Deployment, Foolish Burial. Then, this gets out. Cartesia, Albaz comes up more than you'd think. Sometimes Dark Magician for damage is really nice. Or get Dark Magician on board, Cartesia, fuse Dark Magician and Albaz, or fuse it and Albion, something like that. This is a starter. Really, the only good targets in this deck right now are Tragedy or Sauronir. Tragedy is the much preferred one, so if I draw this in Tragedy, it kind of sucks. But hey, this deck discards a lot, so it can be used for that. Anti-hand trap stuff.
I love it. Cross out all the hand hate if they try to ash you on your branded future.
Exactly. So the thing is, like, I was at one point maining Super Poly and these, and anytime I went into the mirror, I felt so good.
Yeah, you're gonna win.
This still kills in the mirror, but like when Super Poly is a card that you worry about more, it works in this deck too. But this just feels so good to be able to get around to Ash now, especially if they're not expecting it game one. Like it's not expecting. I feel like it's becoming more standard, but I feel like if you're not expecting it and you let things resolve. Just because, like, I've got Ash, I'll save it for Branded Fusion. I'll save it for the end phase Albion thing. So yeah,
punished after that.
So that is the main deck. Extra deck, got my new favorite. I made sure once Expulsion got banned, I made sure to buy a second one of these in case that became the wave. So one of that, 2 Mirror Jade, 2 Albions, then 1 Rebellion, Titanic Clad, Rinbrum, and Sprint. This it gets big, and it can summon Quem. That's its big thing. You're sending so many Albazes to the graveyard. This thing, you barely ever summon it. You just try to get it into the grave to be able to summon Albaz during their turn. This comes up a lot more than you would think with all the times you're getting Albaz into the grave. Something that any card that was special summoned, any effect monster that was special summoned this turn, you've got that. Then on your turn, the column popping effect comes up a lot more than you would think. I tried to figure out ways to run a second one of this because there are times where I don't want to shuffle this back and I wish I had it for later, but I think there's just too much good stuff in the extra deck these days.
Fair enough.
It's really hard to justify. So
now you can't get Diablos no more.
Yeah.
So you
I don't have to worry about that as much anymore. That's the Albaz stuff, the Despia stuff. I got the Coritis. I'm still running the 1 Masquerade, and I got 2 of the Grand Guignol. Just because, like I said, my turn set up either the Gimmick Puppet or the an ad lib or some other play that I need to, and then depending on the cards I have during their turn, I can set this back up, send the Gimmick Puppet, and Sanctifier that way. Plus, its ability to summon this from the extra deck is nice. It can also summon Quem, it summons the Dogmatica from the main deck. I just feel like it's got so much utility. It's still a good attack and defense. It's I don't know. I feel like it's just too useful. Plus, if I want want to go into the Sanctifier Dragon, and I've got Brandon in red or whatever, this is Light Spellcaster. And if I've got a second one, I don't care about banishing it. I don't care about getting rid of it and not getting to use its effect, because I'll have another one to be able to use this. I feel like these two are ones that feel like the most, end up being more cuttable, because you're not super calling, you're not fusing as much with your Albaz, but this, more often than not, I get out with this. This is just a nice insurance to have for a game 3, or just to get a little bit of extra damage, make them have to think a little bit. The more your opponent's thinking, the better. And then the 2 1-ups. Chimera is still good, even if you're only running 1. Dragoon is good, even with Kaijus in the format. This is usually a good going second thing, I feel like.
Yeah, to go insure the OTK.
Exactly. Got everything else set up. This is insurance, as long as you got something. And Cartesia is like the best discard in the game, because you'll probably send a fusion to grave, discard it for Dragoon negate, and then you get Cartesia back in the end phase. So
fair enough.
It ends up being nice. 3 side deck, 3 Droll Unlock. I just feel like this is, I end up wanting to main deck this now. I want to find space for it, just because I feel like it just hurts so many things. It was so powerful with Super Heavy and Pearly and stuff, because it really hit the big bad decks, but it hits so many rogue things. It hits so many things that people aren't expecting it game 1. Like I end up trying to think more about it possibly being a thing game 1. I less worry about it in locals, because it's locals, but I just really want to have it in the main deck, because again, also good cross-out target if people are running it in the main deck, and I've got some. So that I definitely am considering main decking that. The 3 Gameciel, just good to have a Kaiju. It's just with any sort of towers, things that come up. Like I can get to big attack with some things, but like Psychic End Punisher, the Pearly thing. Although I haven't played against much Pearly, thankfully. Yeah. Before or after the ban list. It's just nice to know that I got this. If I had Santa Claus, I'd probably use it instead of this. But this is, and I've considered like running the dark or the light Kaiju, probably the light. But I just feel like at the end of the day, the lower attack ends up being better. Then 3 Evenly, staple, good going second. A lot of the times if I'm going second and I don't know exactly what to do, if I know for sure they're going to make me go second, but I don't know exactly what works against their deck, I will put these 6 in, just because this will probably get rid of something. If anything, like also, if they have a monster on board, I can just Kaiju it away, and then I can go into Sprint, and then pop some back row, because it's special summon this turn, so it's just different things like that. 3 Cosmic, just because any floodgates. Like this is nice against back row and into floodgates, but if they keep the floodgate, you've got no other way to get rid of it, you're screwed. Rivalry really hurts with this deck. The 1 Banishment, just searchable Super Poly, great in the mirror, good if you can, like it can't summon Albaz from the graveyard, but if you just, through Quem or some other way, just leave an Albaz on the field, use this, summon something out, fuse the Albaz with their extra deck monster. Just because it can't summon the Albaz, but if he's already on field, level 8 or higher fusion, you're set. Then the 2 Sanctifier Dragon targets.
Yes, the Jinzo and the
Jinzo. This mainly the thought was for Pearly, but I played against a Sky Striker today. And I was
that
like,
must have been insane.
Well, I cited it in game 3, but it never came up. But I had this and Gimmick Puppet. Just however the cards fell, I'd figure out one way to do something with it. And the fact that Sanctifier can't be targeted is nice against Striker. I didn't summon Dragoon. That would have been a great thing to do against it too, but it's whatever. But yeah, just there are enough quick plays that I've considered having that. The Runic before they got hit. Sprite, even though their quick play got hit. Runic Sprite would be good against. So I don't know. It's just another dark. It's a big body too. 2,900 attack is not anything to sneeze at. So if you can get it on your field, under Rivalry, it's a fiend. So that Paritis and Masquerade, you're fine. You got almost game on board.
Got beat sticks now.
So yeah, the last, like I said, I feel like of the last 6 locals I've played specifically, I think I've won 4 of them.
Nice.
And it's been mostly this side deck, mostly the same main deck, except this is my first time not officially using Expulsion. But
yeah.
I don't know, I'm liking it. I'm liking the way that it interacts with a lot of decks. I'm doing a remote regional on Father's Day, so I've got to figure out exactly what I want to do against a wider competition pool. But yeah, I'm really liking the way it's performing.
For sure. Nice, well, congrats on getting first place, Eric. So anybody that you guys want to help him down in the comments down below on this deck list, be free to get advice.
In there. Just because I'm winning locals doesn't mean I know everything that I'm doing.
Exactly. Improve the deck to make it better for everybody.
Yes, for sure.
All right.
I will always take more words to help with this.
Awesome. Well, congrats, Eric, and thanks for that profile.